Hello there, it's Samantha. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're here, hi. Hello, my name is Samantha and this is my channel where I talk all about books and stuff like that. Anyway, today I'm coming to you with my January and February wrap-up. I didn't do a wrap-up for January because I only read one book, so I was like, I'll just combine it with my February one at the end of February. And now it's 7th of March and I still haven't filmed it, so we're filming it now. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about all of the books that I read in the months of January and February. January, as I said, I read one book. It was not a good month for me in general, especially in terms of reading, obviously. Although the book that I did read was fantastic. It was actually a reread. The first half of February was not great still, but then I got halfway through and you know what? I hit my stride. I was like, no, let's make 2020 my year. So I picked myself up and I was like, okay, first of all, we need to get back into reading because I know that makes me happy. Just really tried to take care of myself a lot better. Anyway, so let's just talk about the books because I've been referencing this for way too long. So the first book that I read in 2020 was a reread of one of my favorite books of all time, and that was Scythe by Neil Shusterman. If you don't know what Scythe is about, Scythe is the first book in a dystopian trilogy. It's basically set in this utopian society where death has been conquered. There's no such thing as natural death anymore. The way that they control population is through these people called scythes, who basically have the power to kill people, and yeah, that's how they control the population. It follows our two main characters, Rowan and Citra, who are both, I think, 16 or 17? I think maybe 17. They're both just living their normal lives. They get approached by Scythe to become his apprentices. Is that the right plural of apprentice? I don't know. Anyway, they both become his apprentices and they basically get a glimpse into what the scythedom is like. And there's a lot of corruption. Maybe it's not as much as a utopian society as we once thought. Anyway, the first book is absolutely wonderful. I love it with all of my heart. I did in fact give it a 5 out of 5 stars on this reread. I actually finished on the 1st of January, so it was a very nice way to start off my 2020. But yeah, as I said, I love this book. I love the characters. I really love the fact that there isn't a lot of romance in the trilogy. There is a slight romance, but it's very much on the back burner. It's not really a main element of the story. It's really more about how the world is in this utopian society, and it's just so it's just amazing. It's just so well crafted. I absolutely love this trilogy with all my heart, and I will be talking about the next two books in a second. So that was the one book that I read in January, and then we move on to February. I read 6 books in February, which I'm pretty happy with. The next book that I read was Tower of Dawn by Sarah J Maas. I was rereading the whole series so that I could finally finish off the series because I was taking part in the Throne of Glass read-along hosted by Cassie from Sassy Cassie and Brittany from Brittany's Book Find. And unfortunately, I fell really far behind, and so I was only actually in the Crown of Midnight live show, which is a real shame because my favorite book in the series is Queen of Shadows, so I would have loved to be in that live show, but I wasn't, and I won't be in the one for the last book because I still haven't finished it. If you don't know, Tower of Dawn is the 6th installment in the Throne of Glass series. Originally supposed to be a novella, and it turned into a full 700-page novel, and I did not like it very much. I listened to the audiobook for this, which also I don't think helped, but I don't think I would have got through it if I'd read it physically, just because like I'm really sick of the audiobooks because I've been listening to them a lot, and the narrator just annoys me. It follows Kale, who's one of the main characters. This whole book is just about him. I don't want to say what it's about involving him in case you're not caught up on the series or you've never read it. I gave Tower of Dawn 2 stars because I don't like Kale. I thought the story was super boring, and yeah, it definitely could have been a novella. I think there was like a tiny bit of important information. I would have preferred to just like read that somewhere and just get spoiled and skip the book. So I will read Kingdom of Ash at some point. I will finish listening to the audiobook. I just haven't been doing a lot of audiobook listening this semester. Anyway, moving on back to some good books that I really enjoyed. The next book that I read was another reread, and that was Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman, the sequel to Scythe. It's a masterpiece. It's a wild ride. I did give this one a 4.5 instead of a full 5 because there are just some bits that are teensy bit slow for me, especially as a reread. It just did take me a little while to get through, but I still love it so much. I gave it 4.5 the first time too. I love rereading it and just picking up on things, and it's just such a well-crafted trilogy that I really can't fault it that much. But yeah, this one is a little bit slow, but power through because the toll is excellent, and I'm about to talk about it. So the whole reason I decided to reread Scythe and Thunderhead was because it had been a really long time since I'd read both of those, and the toll came out in October and I couldn't read it until I went home because I didn't want to buy it here, which Didn't work out very well anyway because now I have it here with me, but it's fine. The next book I read was The Toll. I was slightly dissatisfied with the ending, but as a whole, as a conclusion, this book is wonderful. It was a bit of a weird book to read because it did jump around in timeline a lot and perspective a lot. So it was like, it could have been hard to follow, but actually like I didn't mind. I could follow it, but yeah, it did jump around a bit, which made it a little bit of a slower read. Also, it's like 600 and something pages. Anyway, this book was just phenomenal. I just loved seeing how everything built up to the finale, but as I said, I was slightly dissatisfied with the very ending. I just didn't love the direction that Neil Shusterman took the book in. Like, I personally would have preferred a different resolution, but I understand that actually this is the best option for the conclusion, if that makes sense. So like, I still give it 5 stars, even though like I would have preferred a different ending, but I do think that this ending was the right ending, if that makes sense. I don't love it, but it's the correct way to go with the series. I don't know if that makes sense. If you've read it, maybe you understand what I mean. The next book that I read is The Fountains of Silence by Rita Pettis. This is a book that is set in Madrid in the 1950s, I want to say. I didn't read this book not that long ago, so I should remember, but I believe it's set in the 1950s and it's set in Madrid under Franco's regime. It basically follows one family, which consists of Anna, who is like the middle sibling, Rafa, who is the younger brother, but he's not like that much younger, and their older sister, Julia. And basically the 3 of them are living in pretty much extreme poverty because their parents were on the side against Franco, so they were both killed. And so like the children have been left in a pretty dire situation financially. So yeah, they don't have a lot of money, so they're all like working at jobs. Anyway, our main character is Anna, who works in a hotel, and she meets Daniel, who is a Spanish American. His mom is from Spain and his dad is from Texas, and he's always lived in Texas. So yeah, he comes for the summer. It's just kind of like you get to see this Francoist society through his point of view. I was gonna say through his lens, but then I was like, wait, that's a pun, because he's actually a photographer as well. And obviously he encounters Anna. From Rafa's point of view, you get insights into certain things, and from Julia's point of view, you get insights into certain things. Basically, there's a lot of stuff that happens, a lot of secrets that are going on, and each character is important because they're all like, you get a different perspective into the secrets. I really enjoyed this book. It's a bit of a slow one, but I find with a lot of historical fiction it can be kind of slow, but because it's such a rich story, it's not that bad that it's slow. So yeah, it was a slow read for me for sure, but I did really enjoy it. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed the characters a lot, although I wouldn't say like, it's not like when you read like Immortal Instruments and you read those characters and you're like, I love these characters, I feel so connected with them. I just didn't get that same feeling. Like, I didn't feel like I love them, but I feel like the story is more important to show that time period in Spain rather than like having like a connection with the characters and stuff, if you know what I mean. So I still really enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. If it's something that sounds interesting to you, I would definitely suggest it. I learned some things, which is weird because I study Spanish and Latin American studies at school, so I have done a lot of stuff about Spanish history and stuff like that, and so I knew a lot of stuff already, but there were some things which even I didn't know. Obviously I'm not an expert, but there were some things which I was like, I literally had no idea that that was the thing. I will say that the ending was a little bit off for me. There was a time jump and I just didn't love that, but overall, I really enjoyed the book. 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read after that was Secrets for the Mad by Dodie Clark. This was another NetGalley book, and I requested this one when it came out in 2017. I think I started reading it then, but I wasn't in the place where I could read it. Like, it triggered things in me. And then I started reading it again in September, and again, I was just like not in the right headspace for it, and I just didn't feel great when reading it. So I put it down and I finally picked it up again, and I read the rest of it in one afternoon pretty much. I really enjoyed it. If you don't know, this is kind of like a memoir, kind of self-help book about her personal struggles with mental illness, and it was a really good read. I would definitely say it's targeted more towards teenagers for sure, but I still really enjoyed it, and I think definitely I should have read this a couple years ago, because I think it was mainly just the first like 2 sections which just made me feel just weird and uncomfortable. I couldn't read it without feeling certain things which I try not to feel anymore, if that makes sense. But it's actually really good, and it talks about so many different things. There were all sorts of things in this book, but yeah, it was really good. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, and I would recommend, as long as you're in a place where you can read it and not feel triggered by certain things. I do have a Goodreads review which has all of the trigger warnings, so I will link that down below so you can find out and assess for yourself whether it's something you want to read or not. And the final book that I read in February, book number 7 of the year, was Faking Perfect by Rebecca Phillips. This is another NetGalley book which I requested back in 2015. And at the time, it sounded like a book that I would enjoy. And like, I think if it was executed better, I would have enjoyed it, but I didn't. This book basically follows our main character, Lexi, she's trying to prove to everyone that she's like this perfect girl with this kind of like perfect life. And to do this, she's hiding the fact that her mother's an alcoholic. She hides the fact that she's sleeping with the school's bad boy because she wants to impress her friends who shouldn't be her friends because they're actually terrible, terrible people who don't accept her for who she is. But she still tries to pretend to be perfect for them. Anyway, and basically the whole thing is like she's got this secret relationship with the bad boy Tyler because she has a crush on one of her best friends, but she doesn't want him to find out that she likes him because, you know, she wants to have sex. She's sleeping with the bad boy, but she's like not looking for a relationship with him or with Ben, who's like her best friend. And then eventually Ben asks her on her date and throws a spanner in the works. I don't really know how else to describe this without like spoiling it, but I think you all know where the story's gonna go. It was not good. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. The writing, just for me, like there were times when the author was clearly trying to be funny and it just didn't hit the mark for me at all. I didn't like the writing style. I thought it was very, it seemed very like first draft. Like it didn't seem like a final draft. This book should have been edited a lot more. And also it just, there were too many different like plot points that she wanted to explore, but then she didn't actually explore them. She would mention them, there would be like a scene with a plot point, and then oh boom, we're a week later talking about something else. It was just very poorly executed for me personally. Hated Lexi. The problem with her mainly is that she hated herself. She had no confidence in herself and she really, really hated herself. And I just don't think that's a good thing for people to read, especially like a young adult book. Like I know that when I was younger, I hated myself a lot. I had such a struggle with self-confidence. I still have some struggles with confidence, but I'm a lot better than I used to be. And I know that like, yeah, if I had read this back then, I would have been like, oh, someone else hates themselves too. This is normal. It doesn't have to be normal. You need to love yourself. So yeah, the fact that she hated herself and thought so little of herself really pissed me off. Also, her friends, as I said, were terrible. Ben was borderline abusive, and that wasn't addressed that he was borderline abusive. And that just really frustrated me because, you know, it should have been addressed, and I don't want anyone thinking that that's normal and okay, because it's not. It was not good. I'm sure I have other points to make, but again, I did write a Goodreads review for that, of course, because I got it for a review. So I will link my Goodreads review down below as well if you want to check it out. So those were all of the books that I read in January and February. I'm sad that we ended on a bad note, but it's fine. But yeah, that is all that I have for today's video, so I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe down below. And I don't know when I'm gonna have another video because I'm in Mexico and it's weird and I don't have that much time. Also, my mom is coming to visit me very soon, but I'll have another video up at some point soon. So yeah, I'll see you whenever that is. But yeah, I'm gonna go, so bye.